So, Jenna Ortega's stardom it's never been bigger, in fairness. Jenna Ortega is circling Beetlejuice 2. This will push her back into the world of Tim Burton, although Wednesday was not actually by Tim Burton. I think he just directed 1 or 2 episodes off the top of my head. But this is good. Like, I can actually see her in the role. You know, I can genuinely see her in the role. Now, in terms of who she's supposed to be playing, it's supposed to be the child, essentially. So, child of the former character, so play the daughter of Lydia, which is who Winona Ryder played. So I look at this, I'm like, yeah, I can see that. It's a bit typecast-esque because obviously she's now Wednesday. So, you know, you think about Wednesday when you think of this and you go, oh, I can see that. So it is a bit typecast, but I don't hate it. For all the people you could choose, this is a pretty good pick, in fairness, I think. So let's dive into this. This is a report by The Hollywood Reporter. Please do hit subscribe and turn those bell notifications on. So Wednesday star Jenna Ortega is looking to stay in the Tim Burton family. The actor is circling a role in Beetlejuice 2. Multiple sources tell The Hollywood Reporter. So Warner Brothers, which is behind the feature, was not available to comment, and a representative for Ortega did not respond to requests for comment. I mean, look, it looks like negotiations are probably in the final hour if it's starting to break. So, replying to stuff like this, nah, it's not going to happen. But anyway, so the news comes as Ortega hits theatres with Scream 6, which could land the top opening in the franchise's 25-plus year history, which is probably going to be the case. I'm not particularly enamored with Scream as a property. I think it destroyed horror in general, which, you know, if you speak to anyone in the industry, actually, you know, from a producer side of things and a director side of things, they all admit that Scream did actually destroy horror because it opened up the avenue for weak, cheap slasher thrills and proved them to be a huge success, which is great if you like that. I like a little bit more nuance and creature features of my horror, which unfortunately do cost a bit more. But hey, whatever. Tim Burton, who helmed the 1988 film starring Michael Keaton, is expected to come back and direct this one. Michael Keaton is apparently returning as well, according to sources. I hope Winona Ryder does. That'd be really cool. Really, really cool. Now, production is super soon. Late May, early June. Allegedly going to start shooting in London. Which is interesting because, you know, Wednesday is going to be starting shooting soon as well, I'd imagine. They're going to want to crank that out. But it may be that there'll be a little bit of a crossover with this in terms of shooting spaces. Who knows? Budget's not been set. So obviously there's back and forth. And if a deal is made, sources say Ortega would play the daughter of Lydia, the character played by Winona Ryder in the original. I really like this. I think this is a great pick. I really do. I think this is really, really good. Alec Baldwin, Gina Davis, Jeffrey Jones, Catherine O'Hara also starred in the original film, which grossed $80 million on a $15 million budget. That's pretty bloody good. And it even had a Best Makeup Oscar. Back when Oscars meant something. Which we'll find out tomorrow that they do not now. The sequel has gone through various iterations over the years, with multiple writers coming on and going, and Burton himself publicly waffling over his own involvement. So he's sort of been like, maybe, who knows? Who knows? But obviously, the reason why people think that she's a good pick for this is because she was in Wednesday, which was a huge success. A massive success. And it's clearly where she met Tim Burton, because Tim Burton directed a few of those episodes. And Tim Burton has said, Ortega herself has said that she used to have consistent dreams about Beetlejuice when she was younger. It may have just been some espousing of nonsense. But the actor began her career with roles such as young Jane on the CW's Jane the Virgin, followed by parts in You and Yes Day. She starred in last year's Scream, and she was also in X, Ty West, which is a pretty decent film. So ahead of Wednesday's debut, Ortega told The Hollywood Reporter of working with Burton, "It's been quite an insane experience," she said. "I've been lucky enough to get the opportunity to work with an iconic director who just so happens to be one of the sweetest directors I've worked with, and also the most detail-oriented," which, that's not a surprise. That doesn't sound like she's just blowing smoke up his bum. I can genuinely believe that. Whenever you look at a Burton flick, you're like, oh yeah, like, there is detail and layers to everything there. Now, obviously, Ortega herself, Scream 6 releases this weekend, and she's also doing SNL. So, yeah, this is interesting. I can see her in it. I really do hope that she doesn't get typecast. I'd like to see her in more horrors. I think, more horrors, absolutely, I'm fine with that. But typecast specifically in this type of role, meh. I don't want to just become this sort of, well, I don't know, this sort of gothic Wednesday-esque character that just crosses over into other things. She obviously has more strings to her bow than that. And I think as well, Ortega as an actor would get pretty bored with that. And I don't think she should be pigeonholed in that role. But fact remains, I think this is a really good pick. A genuinely very, very good pick. And one which I'd be very, very happy to see. Out of all the people, whenever you hear, this is one of those interesting situations. Whenever you hear of sequels, you always go, oh, for goodness sake, just creative bankruptcy, all this kind of stuff. But I hear about a Beetlejuice 2 sequel. Initially, I'm like, oh, God, make something new. But then I'm like, oh, yeah, Jenna Ortega, Child, Lydia. Ah, that works. Like, there's clearly some inventive casting going on. I'm intrigued. So it goes to show just how quickly the tides can turn when you have someone detail-oriented, again, like Burton, that comes on board and, does stuff accordingly. I think this is a good pick. A genuinely good pick. And one which I would be happy to see. But I'd be intrigued to see where they go with this. That's the other side of it. Where would you go? I ask you guys. Leave your thoughts down below. And what do you think to Jenna Ortega being the daughter of Lydia? I think it could work. I don't hate it. But I would say definitely get Winona Ryder back. Be good to see her back. She needs to do more things. She sort of came back, of course, with Stranger Things, and she's good. I'd like to see her in more stuff. So let me know what you think down below on this. Jenna Ortega, Beetlejuice 2, daughter of Lydia. Yay or nay? Good pick. Where do you think they should go with this story? Drop your thoughts down below. If you're new here, do hit subscribe. Turn the bell notifications on. And again, please do share it. Helps the channel out. And would mean the world to me. Cheers, guys. Have a great weekend. Take care.